Okay, it's Sunday night here in Japan. I've got some cheap Chilean wine and the laundry is on. Let's take a look at the world's storms. So let's start by looking at the East Pacific, an area we've been focusing on in the past videos. And here we've got Mexico up here, and down here we've got our two storms. And what a difference a couple of days makes. Over here we've got the remnants of Aletta, and then over here we've got newly formed tropical storm Bud. The East Pacific breakdown is now well and truly in force. Let's go back in time though first to the 8th of June, and this is when Aletta was a major hurricane. You can see its eye there and it's spinning away quite happily. However, if you look over to the west of Aletta, you'll see this big field of clouds, and these are stratocumulus clouds pouring down off colder waters, and they were a sign of the coming death of Aletta, because all of this cold air was wrapping up and coming in and coming towards the storm. Aletta suffered a calamitous weakening as it moved over cooler waters, but it's recently sprung a little bit back more into the living zone with this burst of deep convection in the last few hours. But it is on the way out in general, and it's also heading away, and we're not too interested in Aletta anymore. We are interested in Bud. Bud is a developing significant tropical cyclone, and it looks likely to become a hurricane according to the National Hurricane Center. In order to get an idea about the future of Bud, we need to get an idea of the energy available for the storm. And in this map we've got the sea surface temperatures, and it's generally considered around 26 Celsius is what you need to develop and maintain a tropical cyclone. Now 26 Celsius of sea surface temperatures is actually, if you look at the top left, I've got my arrow on the color scale, it's around the oranges. So if we just say it's orange, you can see a boundary between the 26 Celsius waters and roughly colder waters to the north. So in this region up here, essentially this is a death zone for tropical cyclones. And you can see that there's a huge difference across the Baja Peninsula. On one side, to the east, it's high 20s, 28, 29 Celsius sea surface temperatures. On the other side, it's in the greens, and the greens are about 18 Celsius. So on this side, it is 8 degrees cooler than what is necessary for a tropical cyclone, or one of the requirements. So what you've got is a situation where a tropical storm entering this area is going to die very rapidly. So now let's take a look at what the models are predicting for these storms. And so on the right here we've got Bud, and then Aletta over here. Now Aletta's going to go and die, so let's focus on Bud and move forward. And this is the global forecasting system model. So we move forward. Bud intensifies on Monday according to this and deepens, and then you can see the numbers begin to rise, and this is a sign that the storm is weakening. The model is predicting the storm to weaken. It's partly due to those encountering colder waters, particularly on its western side. And then it heads up and comes in and heads to the western side of the Baja Peninsula while weakening, and at this point it's 994, so the pressure has risen a lot, it's weakened a lot, and then it just sort of sits there and dies over those cold waters. Right, so that's what the GFS is thinking, but what about the European Center model? Let's take a look. As we go forward, this is Bud over here. Bud moves up and strengthens, and then progresses, remaining quite strong, and then weakening as it approaches the western side of the Baja Peninsula. And actually at the point of landfall you can see the circulations actually very indistinct. Both of these models are predicting weakening prior to landfall in the Baja Peninsula. Regardless, both of these models paint a picture of a hurricane, potentially a significant hurricane, quite close to the Mexican coast. So it will be throwing some large waves into this coastline. In terms of timing, both the GFS and ECMWF European model indicate the storm, in whatever form it is, probably weakening, approaching the tip of the Baja Peninsula around Friday. So overall in this situation, Bud looks to be heading up roughly towards the Baja Peninsula. If it goes to the west, it's likely to encounter cold waters prior to landfall, leading it to weaken, but it's way too early to make a judgment call on this and to see exactly where it's going to go or what it's going to do. So stay tuned to the National Hurricane Center webpage for the best information, and I will also try and do a few of my dodgy videos on this storm later in the week. Switching gears to the dust, let's take a look at Northern Africa here, and there's Greece and Italy. This is the 6th of June. If we go forward to the 7th of June, you'll see the dust pluming off the Sahara or off North Africa over the Mediterranean Sea in various different plumes. And then on the 8th of June, you can see it spreading all the way up into Italy and into Greece. This is quite a nice dust plume, although I have seen quite a lot thicker, and perhaps we'll get to that in some other videos. Moving over to the West Pacific, and we have got tropical storm Melixi here, and it is to the south of Japan and is heading off in this direction. It's of interest to me because I am up here actually located, and although this storm is a long way away, we'll see in the models that actually I will be feeling some degree of impact from this storm. So here we go. There is Melixi. This is the Global Forecasting System model forecast, and I'm going to put a cross as to my location up here in Sapporo, Hokkaido. And if we move forward in the model, we will see Melixi heading up, turning extratropical as it does so. But the thing is that Japan down here tends to split low pressures into a primary and a secondary low pressure, and you'll see that happening here. There's a second development of heavy rain in the Sea of Japan, and that's actually now a separate low pressure system on that side of Japan that then comes in and brings heavy rain to Sapporo by Tuesday. So quite an interesting situation for me here. So let's wrap this up by looking at the global forecasting system all over the globe and just summarize with our Bud heading off in this direction, and then we have Melixi there zooming off up there, hopefully giving me something. Now there is a little something else in here, and I will show you what it is. It is at the beginning here, there, bang, into New Zealand, a subtropical system there heading into the North Island. So to finish this up, I'm just going to have a quick look at that system. So here is a closer look at the sea level pressure and winds and rain in the colors for a regional look at New Zealand. Going forward, you can see this low pressure. It's a subtropical system moving into the North Island, bringing heavy rain in, looks like Auckland, and also to eastern New Zealand. So let's have a look at the even closer view of this interesting storm. This is a more zoomed view, and you can see the rain moving in Monday, and impacting different areas of the North Island with very heavy rainfall in certain regions. If you want to know more about that storm, I would check the Met Service website, where they have severe weather warnings issued for various areas of the North Island for very heavy rainfall and strong winds. This is a potentially damaging event by the looks of things, so yeah, check themetservice.com. And on that note, I will leave you with this rather jumpy animation loop of the storm approaching the North Island of New Zealand down here on the edge of planet Earth. And until next time, keep it real.